Hello there. Our opening card that we have for today is the Three of Cups. The challenge that we're working with today is the King of Swords. The way we're going to get through the challenge is the Nine of Wands. And then the overall outcome that we have for today is the Empress. So I am reading with a tarot deck that is the prototype of a deck that I drew 10 years ago. I have coined it as the Delaney's Classic Tarot because it is modeled after the Rider-Waite deck. And it is the second of two decks that I drew while I was in my apprenticeship to learn the systems of tarot and astrology. People who are interested in a reading, I actually give 12 card layouts for readings. It's an astrology layout, and I also look at your transits that you're experiencing right now so that we can get kind of a snapshot of some of the intense energies that you're working with, and then we jump into tarot. I use the astrological layout because it gives a snapshot into many different windows of your personal world, and I will list or create a video that kind of details what that layout is all about for people who are interested in learning more about it. Now, for today's reading, these energies that we have working together by way of the Three of Cups, the challenge of the King of Swords, the way we're overcoming that challenge being the Nine of Wands, and then the overall outcome being the Empress, is speaking to a few different energies that are going on, which to me is signaling the turning of seasons that's happening. So we've had this active time of the summertime when we're out with people being really active, kind of shining our light at its brightest and experiencing this overexertion of joy and satiation of our emotional world. And the challenge that we have coming in is this energy of detachment, or, what is the information that we're collecting during our experience, and what is the knowledge that we're gaining through that experience, and that's showing up as our challenge. The way that we're getting through it is the Nine of Wands, and then the overall outcome is the Empress. So there's this energy of the turning of seasons and realizing that, we have every experience once, right? And to not take it for granted, and to also have some understanding that everything does happen in its own time and in its season, and then what we're gathering from that experience is ultimately what's creating our journey, because no one experience is going to last forever, right? No one experience is permanent. And so can we be present with that? Can we be present with what we are having the opportunity to explore and have as part of our adventure, and also know that every experience is fleeting, and to learn from our past mistakes and not beat ourselves up over, things that may have not worked out, or things that may have not grown in the direction that we had wanted them to, because it's easy to beat ourselves up for things instead of just understanding that the experience is all part of the journey. And this overall outcome energy is interesting, because it's the Empress card, which is a major arcana, and it's speaking to some life lesson that we're working with. And the Empress is all about nurturing and giving our attention to relationships and being in exchange, and nurturing not only the relationships that we're in, but also taking care of ourselves and what we're going through and experiencing. Because consider that right now we have Venus, which is in the tail end of Leo, right? And it's getting ready to move into Virgo. And we have the sun in Virgo right now, and we just experienced a new moon in Virgo. So there's all this energy going into the timeline of Virgo, which is the time of the harvest, and it's also the place of service and where we interact and engage with others. So I think that there is a lot of energy in the reading that's calling us to be in relationship, and to realize that sometimes we're being in relationship to lend other people some perspective, and to have some detachment around our own expectations around any experience that we're going through, to see that we're there to gather information and to gather the experience rather than to realize some expectation, because this life is ultimately a journey of sorts. And right now, at this time of year, you know, if you're out in nature, you'll see that creatures like insects, you know, like all of the bees and hornets and wasps and even birds are building their nests for the winter, and they're putting things away, and they're taking this time to prepare for something. And so there's this turning and this shift of energy. And so I think in a lot of ways the Empress is showing up to call our attention to that which we need to have in our lives to take care of ourselves, and what daily practices and routines we need to embody as part of our lives to build upon that. Because Virgo as a sign is this mutable earth energy, right? It's where things in the earth are no longer totally solid. They're being mutable. They're able to be malleable and changeable. And we see that in the environment around us. Things are changing form. They're changing their energy from being this active growth kind of energy to pulling themselves inward and going through this process of transformation through that. And so if we can reflect on that in nature and kind of embody it for our own lives, I think that's where this reading is kind of calling our attention, because it's what we need to, you know, get us through the winter and get us through the times. And every year is its own opportunity and its own season to see what we can develop and grow. And I think right now what we're doing is we're pulling ourselves inward and pulling our energies inward so that we can put our energy and effort towards something next spring. But ultimately we're in that place of going into the incubation space, you know, going into the place of Virgo energy, which is, you know, a little bit of the hermit kind of energy, but seeing what we need, right? Because we have more of the Empress energy here. So it's more of energy of, you know, mothering and nurturing and tending to oneself and what one needs ultimately to have a sensory experience, which is why we are here in body. I want to send you all a lot of love and a good wish as we kind of go through this change of seasons, and I will see you again soon. Bye for now.